Welcome to this edition of Bison Talks, coming to you via the Total Nonstop Impact Network. I am, of course, your host, Bison. I am joined today by the youngest in charge and the future of the TNA X division, the incredible Leon Slater. Hello,
Yes.
Leon.
How's it going, man? I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
No worries, buddy. No worries. I tell you what, it's so nice to hear that accent, that northern accent, or I don't know, is it northeast? Are you northeast? You're
So
Bradford way?
yeah, I'm Bradford. I'm Bradford. So I'm not sure how east that is, but it's most definitely northern. Yeah.
So it's great to hear that accent. I love it because obviously most of the time I'm speaking to the guys from the US. So
Absolutely.
I mean, apart from Trent, I did speak to Trent Seven not so long ago, and that
Okay.
was pretty cool too.
You got a little bit of Midlands mixed in there. You got a little bit of Brum mixed in. I see that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, first off, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of yours and have been for a few years now since seeing you perform for the very first time and a few times after that at Wrestle Carnival shows. Um, Now, we know that you are the youngest in charge. When and where did you start your wrestling journey?
So I actually started my wrestling journey at a place called UKW Wrestling, which at the time I believe was in Wakefield. And I started it when I was 9 years old, which is controversial, I know, but I like to think there's pros and cons. Like I probably wouldn't be in the position I am now if I'd started training any later. But I'm sure there's many 20-year-olds out there which wake up in the morning and don't have to crack their back.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I could definitely imagine that you have to do that every day. I'll tell you one thing as well. We've noticed that, because of what, are you still 19 or have you hit 20 yet?
I've just hit 20 on September 27th, so just gone.
Wow. And, in fairness, obviously you signed your contract when you were 19. Obviously you carry that youngest in charge, moniker, which is fantastic. I love it. And, like you say, you've really bulked up, I think, in the last sort of kind of 12 months. I remember the first time I saw you, you were, obviously you were toned, you were still fit, but now you're starting to really pack on a little bit of timber, as they say.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, over the past like 12 months, and especially like since the summer, like really like these past 3 or 4 months, it's been something that I've really tried to dial in on. Because like as a young wrestler, quite often our bodies are compared to people that have been working out just as long as we've been alive. So we have to put in that extra effort to making sure we look the part just as much as everything else. So I really appreciate that, man. And shout out to my PT, shout out Dan Bryden. He's helped me a bunch. And like I was trying in the gym before, but with his guidance on nutrition and my workouts in the gym, it's taken me to a whole new level. So shout out to Dan.
That's fantastic because I mean, when you look at guys like Chris Bay, for instance, and even Ace Austin over the last sort of 3 or 4 years since they joined, the company and started getting in those more prominent positions, those guys have really started to tone right up and lean right out. And I sort of kind of see you going in that direction. And I think that is superb to see.
Absolutely. I mean, if I could have half the body of them boys, I'd be happy. Yeah. I mean, ABC are in some absolutely great shape for sure.
Definitely. Now, fast forward to Coventry. Obviously, Impact Wrestling at the time was a show, and we had the HMV Empire. When did you know you were going to be offered the contract in the ring, or was it a complete surprise? Because I mean, I know obviously, it's a show, but you really genuinely looked surprised.
Yes, that's because it was. So I kind of had a little bit of an inkling since I was the only UK talent on all 4 days, at least on the male side, I think. So I kind of had an inkling that they liked me. And like from my perspective, they had booked me for all 4 tour dates without even seeing me wrestle. So like I'm going into this thinking, yeah, once they see me wrestle, they've got to offer me something. Like that was my goal going into the weekend. So yeah, like you said, I think it was the third night in Coventry in the HMV Empire, me versus Frankie Kazarian. And after the match, Scott Demore's music hits. Now, up to this point, I'm thinking everything's rolling smooth. I'm thinking everything's normal because unfortunately, Alex Shelley, who was with us at the time in Impact, had hurt his calf on that tour or something like that. He got hurt. So Frankie was going to fill in for the main event. It was going to be Frankie and Sabin versus I think maybe Moose and Myers.
That's right.
From what I was told, Scott was gonna come out and like announce this main event that Frankie was gonna take Shelly's place, and he came out and he had a piece of paper in his hand. I'm like, rah, like I don't remember that being talked about. Like, what's this piece of paper? So as he gets closer and closer to the ring, I'm thinking like, is this really happening? Like, oh my god, because it's the type of thing that only happens in movies, you know. Like, it was so surreal. And then obviously he started his speech and he mentioned going into a new era of TNA, we're going to need some fresh new faces. And then he looked over at me and I was like, oh my God, like my dreams were coming true, like right in front of me and in front of you guys in the HMV, right? Like, it was an absolutely crazy moment. And I'm glad it happened how it did. I'm glad I didn't really have any forewarning before.
Oh, mate, I thought it was amazing, and I'm so pleased because you really did genuinely look surprised. So I'm so glad to hear that it was a surprise, because what an awesome surprise that was. Absolutely fantastic. And I us boys, we just couldn't be happier. We were going mad. Oh, 1, 2, 1. We were just loving life. It was amazing. So fantastic. Now, over the past few years, you've also been part of one of my favorite tag teams here in the UK, Boisterous Behavior. Now, with the incredible, of course, talented lyrical dragon himself, Dyrese, do you think we could get to see you guys unite as part of TNA and maybe go for those tag titles at some point?
I most definitely hope so. I mean, like, I feel like Darius would fit like a glove in TNA, and I really hope you know, he gets his opportunity just like I did. And I know once he gets that opportunity, he's gonna smash it out the park just like I did and end up in the same position as me. So yeah, man, like I think Boisterous Behavior has a lot of legs to it, and hopefully those legs can walk around the TNA tag division and win some gold. Sorry.
Yeah, man, definitely. I think the thing is with Dyrese, what I find is he's actually got that something a little bit unique in the fact that he is the lyrical dragon. That he comes out, you know, he raps his own theme tune, as they say. He writes his theme tune, he raps his theme tune, and I think that is something which TNA love, that uniqueness, something a little bit different, like you have in your agileness, in your ability, and everything that you do in the ring. He's sort of kind of got that. He's got that little something when it comes to, you know, what he can do on the mic as well. And I think he would fit in brilliantly because he has got that little something different. And I think that's what always they seem to look for, that something different. And I love that. Now, before we talk about Bound for Glory, because we've got to talk about Bound for Glory, I just want to talk a bit about basically the ways we can watch TNA, and of course see yourself, Leon, here in the UK. Obviously, we can subscribe to the TNA Plus. We've got Thriller TV for specials, pay-per-views, and of course in the US Access TV. What are your thoughts on being on so many different platforms, also here in the UK, and of course all over the world, as being part of TNA? What are your thoughts on all of that?
Absolutely. Like from day one, I realized how much of an amazing opportunity this is, not only for me, but for my personal brand to work alongside TNA and be on that platform is something I do not take lightly. And like you said, whether it's international in the UK on TNA Plus, or if it's over in the States on Access TV, sorry, or if it's on Triller, you know what I'm saying? We have thousands and thousands of thousands in live attendance and watching through screens at home that are like paying attention into our product every week. So every time I get the chance to be on TNA TV, or whether it be a countdown to a pay-per-view or the pay-per-view itself, it's definitely something I don't take lightly. And I'm very, very thankful for all the opportunities TNA has provided for me to, you know, do what I love in front of such a big audience.
Yeah, I think the audience is growing and growing. We've seen so much growth, I think, in the last sort of kind of 8 to 10 months since the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. We've seen so much growth, and I think heading into 2025, it's got to be TNA's year. 2025 is going to be the year. I think I could definitely see that happening. Okay, heading into tonight's episode of Impact, of course, you'll be facing the X Division champion, Mike Bailey. Now, we all need to know, will the youngest in charge be in charge of the X Division by the end of the show?
I mean, that's the goal that I'm going in with. Just like with everything else, I'm going in to win, and I'm going in to take charge, because that's what I do, baby. So I've had a couple matches with Speedball. Not all at TNA. This is the first one at TNA, but being at TNA, this is the most important one to me. And like the chance to be the youngest X Division champion ever of all time to take Amazing Red's record, is something that I've had my eyes on even before I signed to TNA. So tonight is a very special night for me, and I'm gonna bring it home.
I hope so. I really, really hope so. I think it will be absolutely insane. I think the UK will go absolutely crazy, especially all your friends up north. They're going to go absolutely crazy if you walk out there, the youngest X Division champion of all time, and of course, taking that mantle from a man is great. Is Amazing Red. I think is awesome as well. And when you think about the people that have carried the X Division title, the AJ Styles of this world, the Austin Aries, these guys, Frankie Kazarians, well, we can go on, can't we? We can go on.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe even held the title, for goodness sake. It's one of those titles that, you can really hold your head up high and say, man, I could be part of, I am part of that legacy, or, and I think we're there for you. We're there for you, Leon.
I
I can tell we're there.
appreciate.
I'm getting up super early in the morning to make sure I watch this live.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now I'm also excited. I'm very excited to obviously watch you grow in the coming years as part of the TNA roster. I know that you've signed a multi-year deal, which is fantastic. But what do you think, about the current landscape with, the unprecedented relationships with WWE, NXT at the moment and stuff like that? What do you think of the current landscape of professional wrestling, and where do you think it could maybe go in the future?
I think it's a very, very fun time to be a professional wrestler, and even more importantly than that, a professional wrestling fan. Because, like you said, all these collaborations that's happening with TNA, we got the NXT deal. NXT people are working with Noah. I'm sure we can tie ourselves in there. Like everyone can go everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So it's an incredibly exciting time. And I'm working every day to be more and more a part of this exciting time. I know there's been some buzz online about a certain young OG over in NXT that I hope I can lock horns with one day, hopefully in the not too distant future. But like I said, I'm working every single day to be more and more of a part of this super exciting time, not just for TNA, but for professional wrestling in general.
Oh man, I'm so excited to hear you say stuff like that, because I think it's so important how we moving forward when we, the relationships all come together. Everyone gets to see everyone. Talking about, building relationships. Obviously, we've got TNA have got that exciting time with AAA. We've got connections with AAA, like you say, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Possibly we've had Noah in the past. I'm hoping those bridges are still open. Of course, now WWE NXT. Now, and of course, we've got Vikingo coming up. It's
Yeah.
recently been announced. Have you ever faced Vikingo? Because I'll tell you what, I think you guys could absolutely kill it.
That's one that's been on my list for a while. I've never stepped in the Vikingo in any format, not a scramble, not a six man, then definitely not a one-on-one. So I'm hoping Vikingo sticks around long enough to TNA where I get a shot at him, because like you said, I feel like we could really make some magic in that ring.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Really would. Now, with BFG only obviously a few weeks away now, what would you say to anyone that is currently watching this into about tuning in to watch TNA wrestling, and of course buying the biggest pay-per-view TNA, or the biggest TNA pay-per-view of the year, Bang for Glory?
Absolutely. I'd say if you're not getting in now, you're missing a trick. It's better to get in early and be along with us from the ride than joining too late. Because, like you said, I truly believe that this year, and especially going into 2025, is going to be the year that TNA truly takes over. And I think Bound for Glory is a huge step in that process. So for those international folks, make sure you get on that TNA Plus. And everyone in the States too, everyone make sure you get on that TNA Plus, because we got a stacked card coming. I think it's a week on Saturday now. We're not far out, maybe 9-10 days out from Bound for Glory. It's the biggest show of the year. I personally believe in Joe Hendry and think he's going to take the TNA World title. And I'm sure lots of people are going to tune in to see that. But yeah, like I said, 2025 is going to be the year of TNA. And you heard that from the youngest in charge himself. So hop in on the train now and don't wait too late. Get on that TNA Plus and join us for Bound for Glory.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. This has been a real pleasure talking to you today, Leon. I'm so excited to see, what you can do as part of the TNA roster in the next, in the rest of 2024 and of course beyond. As long as we can have you, that's all I've got to say. But I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed my guest today because I've certainly enjoyed talking to him. Leon, would you like to let TNI Tribe know where they can keep up to date with all that's going on with, of course, the youngest in charge himself on the socials, where we can maybe get hold of merchandise, etc., and help you on your journey?
Absolutely. So across all socials, that's Instagram, that's TikTok, that's Twitter, that's YouTube. I am at Leon Slater underscore in all capitals. And of course, you can catch me every week on the TNA Plus app or Access TV at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Fantastic. And what about, is there any extra merch we can get anywhere?
Oh, that's a good point. The merch. I currently got a big cartel that I'm working on, and I'm also working on a pro wrestling tee. So keep the eyes open for that. I'm gonna have the link for them in my bio.
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome. Don't forget to follow the Bison on Twitter at Lord Bison45 and make sure to follow Total Nonstop Impact at We Talk Impact, which is available on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to your favorite TNA related shows. Oh, blimey, that was a mouthful. If you enjoyed this interview and want to see more, please consider subscribing and giving the bell a little tickle. That's my thing. And never miss any of the fresh TNA related content coming out each and every week. Until next time, I, of course, have been Bison, talking to the youngest in charge, the incredible Leon Slater. Take care, everyone.